Hi guys. I have no makeup on because my makeup is in the car and my hubby took my car today. So it is what it is. But this is unfold with me anyway, so it's like housework. So really, do I need to get dolled up for this? No, I don't feel like it's a formal video, so it's okay. But um, this is actually not Friday. It's a lie. This is actually Saturday. But yesterday was Black Friday, even though I did not get out. It was still really chaotic, and I've been trying to recover my home from the chaos of Thursday. So Thanksgiving, I had two sets of people over here. It was part of my family and then part of Joshua's family. Joshua's family came over for lunch, my family came over for dinner, and so I had to cook two different Thanksgiving meals. And yeah, I feel like I've washed like every single dish of mine in my entire kitchen was dirty. I feel like yes. So with that being said, this secret is going to be a little bit deeper. It's a part of me. It's kind of personal, and so you guys know I'm very transparent. I'm a very open person. I'm not very private, so it's fine. But this is about me, and it's about things that happened when I grew up, and so this is kind of a more in-depth get to know me a little better kind of thing. So if you can hear my dryer in the background, I'm sorry, it's very loud, but I'm doing laundry as I'm folding laundry, so it's just like a continuous cycle. So many bodies, so many clothes. So today's secret is going to be, you could probably tell by the title, my struggle with food. Growing up, my parents, my mom had a really bad childhood. It's like way too much to go into, and that's really her story, not mine. But she had a rough childhood, and so when I was born and when they had children, she always said that she wasn't going to make her kids eat anything that they didn't want to eat. You know, if they didn't want to eat it, they didn't have. She never really made us eat things and try new things. She wasn't very stern in try new things. Like with Tristan and Killian, I don't want them to grow up like me, which they have my tendencies, which is kind of frustrating, but I don't want them to grow up like me. And so I try to make them try new foods and try to make them try it at least once, and then we'll try it again later to see if you change your mind. You have to at least take a bite of it, and if you don't like it, then you don't like it, but we're at least going to try. And that's kind of how I go about things. But my parents never really made me try too much, because my mom she had a really bad upbringing, and that's just kind of how she felt, was that she just wasn't going to force me to eat anything I didn't want to eat. And with that being said, I was a very picky child. I mean, lots of kids are picky. Mine are so dang picky. It's very frustrating. But kids are picky. A lot of them are. And I was the same way. I was very picky as a child. I didn't want to try anything new. I didn't want to eat anything. Everything was yucky. I liked chicken, and that was pretty much it, which pretty much is it today, with a few exceptions. I don't even know whose these are. These are Killian's. And so, too many boys in the house. And so that's kind of how it was. I just struggled with trying new things. I liked what I liked. That was pretty much the end. But then when I got older, I didn't eat very much. So it wasn't only that I was picky, but I didn't eat a lot. And I was very skinny, painfully skinny. I had Tristan's body is pretty much exactly my body type because I take after the men on my dad's side of the family. That's who I take after. My body type is different than any other woman in my entire family on both sides. My body is not like theirs at all. I have a very small chest area. I have very long legs, and I have a decent sized torso as far as the length of my torso. I'm very small framed, like you can tell, like I'm just small framed, and I am just thin frame. That's the way I am. When growing up, I had zero curves at all. So, you know, that's just kind of how it was. and I was very thin. So my mom, because she's my mom and she's a worrier, you know, like any good mother is, in my opinion, you're going to worry about your kids because you care about them. And she was a worrier and she worried over me all the time. And it got to the point where I didn't want to eat. I mean, I wouldn't eat anything, you know. And my dad would get so frustrated, like, if she doesn't want to eat, she's not going to eat. There's nothing you can do about it. She'll eat when she's hungry. And that's what he would tell her. Well, she didn't really listen to that very much because, like I said, she's my mom. She's a warrior. And so, yeah. So she would try to get me to eat all the time. Well, I got really skinny, and the more I grew taller, the skinnier I was. Back then, I don't know if you guys remember this. I mean, I'm not that old, but still, back then, when I was a teenager, and just coming out of girl clothes, I wore a girl size in the waist, like little girls in the waist, but my legs were so long, and it reminds me of Tristan because I call Tristan my ostrich legs because he literally has legs for a mile. So my legs were so long that what fit me in the waist did not fit my legs, and it was way too short. Like the pants were too short. But then if I went to a regular size, like a junior's, they were huge in the waist and never fit. And, you know, back then they didn't really have what they have now, where you can get the little elastic things that go inside of the waistband that you can stretch and button it up and it just gathers the material. No, they didn't have that. That's what I do for Tristan, but they didn't have that when I was younger. And they were just now coming out with zeros and double zeros. They have it a little bit more commonly now, but back then they only had that in because we did live on the Alabama-Georgia line, and they only had those sizes, those specialty sizes, in Atlanta because Atlanta was the big shopping hub. And so that's where we went to buy my clothes, because I would have to have a double zero and that would fit me. It was still a little big in the waist, but it would fit. So I was very, very thin. I hated food. I hated food because my parents would always worry over me eating, and my grandparents would always worry over me eating, and it was just so ridiculous. Like, could you please leave me alone? I mean, it was, have you ate today? How much have you ate? What have you ate? I wasn't anorexic. I'm not going to act like my struggle is anything like someone who's going through that kind of eating disorder. In college, I studied eating disorders a great deal just because I think that is so tragic that people struggle with things like that. And I wanted to help those people. So in college, I studied a lot about that just because I know what it's like to hate food. I was never an anorexic or a bulimic. I was never any of those, but I did hate food, and I struggled with being thin. People think so much that you only struggle with being overweight, and that being thin is very lucky, and you don't understand how lucky you are. And yes, I understand that frame of mind, but being very, very thin, especially as a girl who everybody else is getting curves, and they're getting a chest, and they're getting thighs and a butt, and you have nothing, you're just like a board. It's hard. It's hard as a female, and it's hard, period, when you struggle with food so much and everybody's always on you about it all the time. It's hard. And that's the way it was with me. My mom would take me to the doctor and tell the doctor she thought I was anorexic, and they would do all these different tests on me and like evaluations on my mind to see if I was in the right frame of mind, and they were like, no, she's not, but she's close, so she needs to calm down and eat more. You need to force her to eat. I can't tell you how many times I sat at the dinner table for hours with my mom telling me I wasn't getting up from the table unless I ate, and I just wouldn't eat it because I just hated it. I hated it. It went on into adulthood where I was in college, and my mom would be constantly asking me what I had ate that day, and just the frustration of it. My struggle with food, it was a real thing. You know, I hated food. I hated it. It was a struggle. It's still a struggle with me today, and I'm 30 years old. This coming week, I will be 30. It's still a struggle with me today. On remembering to eat and making sure I eat the right things and eat enough. I have cereal for dinner or a candy bar for dinner, and that's my dinner, or Oreos for lunch. Like, I'm a junk eater. That gets me in a lot of trouble, but it's hard for me to remember to eat. If I'm cleaning all day, I feed the boys, I feed them something I don't necessarily want or like, I feed it to them, I make sure they're taken care of, I'm still cleaning up, and I just don't remember. It's very difficult for me to remember those things because food is just not something that I am in love with. I don't care about it, you know? It's not something that, you know, I'm not just a food lover where I just love food. No, I'm picky, number one. I eat the same thing everywhere I go. That's just the way I am, and I just don't care about it. And even my husband, he'll come home, have you ate today? No. Does coffee count? Because yes, I've had that. So, but that's about it. So no, I mean, I'm just not that great at it. It's something that I want to get better at. It's something that I want to be better at because I know I need to take care of myself. Obviously, I'm not a teenager anymore. I mean, you have to take care of yourself if you want your body to be good to you later. I do understand this, so don't leave hate comments. That's not what this is about, but this is just about the fact that some people struggle in different ways. You know, when I was in college, I got really sick. I had mono. It was awful. If you've never had mono, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And I had mono. I lost 25 pounds and I didn't have 5 pounds to lose. I looked like a skeleton. It was really rough. It was really bad. My eyes were hollow. I was very sickly because I couldn't gain any weight. If I drop weight like that, like a lot of weight at once, it's very, very difficult for me to gain that weight back. It's really hard for me to do that. But yeah, I mean, when I had my kids, you know, obviously with the first kids, you lose weight faster than with the second. And that was the case for me, just like everybody else. But you know, I'm still a pretty decently thin person. I'm a thin person. I have a thin frame and I'm thin. And everybody always says, oh, I hate you. You dropped that baby weight like that. Well, you don't know that it was a struggle with me my whole life. You know, food has not been my friend. Being thin is not all it's cracked up to be. You have to go through struggles with that as well. Why are you so skinny? Are you sick? You're too skinny. Everybody asking you these things, nothing fitting you correctly, having a girl body, I mean, a girl body with a woman's age, it's not fun all the time. And since I've had kids, you know, that weight has been distributed in good areas, so I have just a little bit better than I used to. But, you know, I have zero chest. I have, you know, I do have a thin body, but that's fine now, and I can deal with it so much better now, which even still, my family cracks jokes at me, and you eat like a bird, you never even eat, it's probably because you don't eat. It's still like a running joke. That's the constant joke about me, is that I don't eat, I don't eat enough, I don't eat food, you don't take care of yourself, blah, blah, blah. That's the ongoing joke, and my secret is to just tell you, it's not all it's cracked up to be. So sometimes being thin is not the most fun thing in the world. And even though I'm not too thin now, I used to be. Pictures of me when I was growing up, I'm like, whoa, like that's rough. I was really, really skinny. I mean, yeah, like super skinny. You know, your collarbone juts out and your arms are really thin, your shoulders are sticking out, and you know, your features are that so sharp because you are skinny. I wasn't a dangerous skinny, but I was too skinny, and that's not always fun. It's not that I don't try, and I would try so hard, you know, when I was, you know, just preteen and then just going into my teenage years, I would try so hard to eat and eat and eat. No, it just, you know, I just didn't gain weight, and sometimes that's not the most fun. So that is my secret for today. Stay tuned. I have actually some pretty deep secrets. I've been debating whether or not I'm actually going to share it, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and be brave and take the plunge and share some truly secret things about myself to you that I don't always share with everyone, but I feel like it could help somebody, and it would help you get to know me a little better as well. So I'm thinking about sharing these things with you. So just stay tuned, but this was my Folds With Me Friday, so I hope you enjoyed, and I still have lots more to fold, so I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.